Picture opening your pantry 5 years from now and finding eggs that are still perfectly fresh, meat that's more tender than the day you preserved it, and vegetables that have actually improved in flavor over time. While your neighbors are panicking about power outages and empty grocery shelves, you're sitting comfortably with a food storage system that could feed your family through any crisis without depending on a single appliance or utility company. This isn't science fiction. It's exactly how the Amish have been living for centuries, using preservation methods so effective they make modern refrigeration look primitive and unreliable. These techniques don't just keep food from spoiling, they actually enhance flavors, improve nutritional content, and create meals that are more satisfying than anything you can buy at the store. The secret lies in understanding how food naturally behaves and working with those properties instead of fighting against them. While we're frantically trying to stop the clock with expensive appliances and chemical preservatives, the Amish have discovered that some foods don't just resist spoilage, they actually get better with age when handled correctly. Let's start with something that will completely revolutionize how you think about food storage. Archaeologists have found eggs preserved in lime water that were still edible after being buried for decades. That's right, eggs older than your car, still perfect for breakfast. This makes those expiration dates on store-bought eggs look absolutely ridiculous. The science behind lime water preservation is fascinating yet simple. Eggs have thousands of tiny pores in their shells that normally allow air and bacteria to sneak in, causing spoilage over time. But when you submerge eggs in a lime water solution, made by dissolving calcium hydroxide in water, something magical happens. The alkaline solution seals those microscopic pores completely, creating an airtight barrier that keeps bacteria out while preserving the egg's natural freshness. The Amish have been using this technique for generations, routinely storing thousands of eggs at a time using nothing more than lime and water. A typical Amish family might preserve 2,000–3,000 eggs annually, ensuring they have a steady protein supply regardless of seasonal laying patterns or external supply disruptions. These aren't just emergency rations. They're premium ingredients that often taste better than store-bought eggs that have been sitting in warehouses for weeks. The process couldn't be simpler. Fresh, unwashed eggs get carefully lowered into containers filled with lime water solution, making sure they're completely submerged. The eggs can stay in this solution for up to 15 years. Yes, 15 years, while maintaining perfect quality. When you're ready to use them, just rinse off the lime solution and crack them open to find eggs that look and taste like they were laid yesterday. What makes this method truly remarkable is its reliability. Unlike refrigeration that can fail during power outages, lime water preservation works continuously without any external energy. The eggs actually improve in some ways during storage, with the whites becoming slightly firmer and the yolks developing richer flavors that make store-bought eggs seem bland by comparison. Another brilliant Amish preservation technique involves coating eggs with oil to create an impermeable barrier that blocks air and moisture. This method works on the same principle as lime water, but uses a different approach to achieve the same goal, preventing bacteria from reaching the egg contents. The process involves carefully coating each egg with a thin layer of mineral oil, which seals the pores in the shell while being completely food-safe and flavorless. The oil creates a protective coating that's invisible but incredibly effective, allowing eggs to be stored at room temperature for months without any deterioration in quality. This technique is particularly valuable because it requires no special containers or solutions, just eggs, mineral oil, and proper storage conditions. The coated eggs can be stored in regular containers in cool, dry places, making this method ideal for situations where space or equipment is limited. Modern homesteaders have rediscovered this technique and found it remarkably effective. Eggs preserved this way maintain their nutritional value while developing slightly different textures that many people actually prefer to fresh eggs. The oil coating is easily removed with a simple rinse, leaving eggs that are indistinguishable from fresh ones in taste and appearance. The Amish also use vinegar-based preservation methods that create hostile environments for harmful bacteria while being completely natural and safe. Vinegar's acidity disrupts bacterial growth and creates protective barriers that extend food storage life dramatically. For eggs, a quick vinegar bath before storage helps eliminate surface bacteria while creating an additional protective layer. The acidic environment makes it virtually impossible for harmful microorganisms to establish themselves, providing an extra layer of security for long-term storage. This technique has historical precedent. Roman soldiers used vinegar to preserve food during long campaigns, and the method has been refined over centuries of practical use. The Amish have perfected the ratios and timing to create preservation systems that are both effective and economical. Vinegar preservation works for many foods beyond eggs, making it a versatile technique that can be applied throughout the food storage system. The key is understanding proper concentrations and application methods that maximize preservation benefits without affecting taste or texture. Salt has been humanity's primary food preservative since before recorded history, and the Amish have elevated salt curing to an art form that produces results superior to any modern preservation method. When applied correctly, salt doesn't just prevent spoilage, it actually improves flavor and texture while creating foods that can last for years. The science behind salt preservation is elegantly simple. Salt draws moisture out of food through osmosis, creating an environment where harmful bacteria simply cannot survive. But the Amish approach goes far beyond just covering food with salt. They use precise ratios, specific salt types, and carefully controlled conditions to create preserved foods that are culinary masterpieces. For meat preservation, the Amish select only the finest cuts and apply salt in layers, ensuring complete coverage while allowing proper moisture extraction. The process requires patience and skill, with experienced preservers knowing exactly how much salt to use and how long to apply it based on factors like meat thickness, fat content, and ambient conditions. The results are extraordinary. Salt-cured hams can hang in Amish cellars for years, developing complex flavors that make commercial products seem bland and artificial. Bacon preserved this way has a depth of taste that transforms simple breakfast into gourmet experiences. Even vegetables benefit from salt preservation, with techniques like sauerkraut creation, turning ordinary cabbage into probiotic powerhouses that improve with age. What makes Amish salt curing special is their understanding of different salt types and their specific applications. Coarse sea salt works best for initial moisture extraction, while finer salts penetrate deeper into food tissues. Some families use salt from specific sources that they believe impart unique flavors, treating salt selection like wine connoisseurs choose vintages. Smoke preservation combines the antimicrobial effects of specific wood compounds with dehydration to create foods that are both preserved and incredibly flavorful. The Amish have perfected smoking techniques that turn ordinary meats into delicacies that improve with age while lasting for months without refrigeration. The process begins with careful wood selection, as different species impart distinct flavors while providing varying levels of preservation compounds. Hickory creates classic smokehouse flavors, applewood adds subtle sweetness, and cherry provides mild, fruity notes. The Amish often blend different woods to create signature flavor profiles that become family traditions passed down through generations. Temperature control during smoking is crucial, with the Amish maintaining precise heat levels that maximize preservation while developing optimal flavors. Cold smoking at temperatures below 90 degrees Celsius creates the longest-lasting preserved foods, while hot smoking at higher temperatures produces ready-to-eat products with shorter storage lives but immediate palatability. The smoking process can take days or even weeks for larger cuts, requiring constant attention and adjustment. Experienced Amish smokers can judge progress by smell, color, and texture, knowing exactly when products have reached perfect preservation levels. The results are foods that can hang in cool, dry places for months while maintaining safety and developing increasingly complex flavors. Modern applications of Amish smoking techniques can transform home food preservation, creating gourmet products that cost a fraction of commercial alternatives while providing superior quality and longer storage life. Even simple modifications to existing grills or outdoor cooking areas can accommodate traditional smoking methods. Sugar curing represents one of the most sophisticated Amish preservation techniques, combining sugar's moisture-drawing properties with its natural, antimicrobial effects to create preserved foods with perfect sweet-savory balance. This method is particularly effective for hams and bacon, producing results that make commercial products seem artificial and overprocessed. The process requires precise sugar-to-salt ratios that vary depending on the specific food being preserved and the desired final flavor profile. Too much sugar creates overly sweet products, while too little fails to provide adequate preservation. Experienced Amish preservers adjust these ratios based on factors like ambient humidity, meat fat content, and intended storage duration. Sugar curing works by creating an environment where harmful bacteria cannot survive while beneficial flavor-developing processes continue. The sugar penetrates deep into meat tissues, creating complex chemical reactions that develop rich, nuanced flavors impossible to achieve through other methods. The time required for proper sugar curing varies from days to weeks, with larger cuts requiring longer processing periods. During this time, the sugar draws out moisture while infusing flavors, creating a natural preservation process that requires no external energy or artificial additives. Results from sugar curing are extraordinary. Hams that develop crystalline textures and complex flavors, bacon that balances sweetness with savory richness, and other preserved meats that represent the pinnacle of traditional food preservation artistry. One of the most ingenious Amish preservation methods involves using rendered animal fat to create airtight seals around cooked meats. This technique, known as confit in French cuisine, creates preserved foods that can last for months while actually improving in flavor and texture over time. The process begins with slowly rendering fat from the same animal being preserved, creating pure, clean lard that will serve as the preservation medium. This lard is heated until it becomes liquid, then poured over cooked meat to create a complete seal that prevents air contact and bacterial growth. Meat preserved in lard develops incredibly tender textures as the fat slowly penetrates the muscle fibers while protecting them from oxidation and spoilage. The result is preserved meat that's more tender and flavorful than fresh alternatives, with the added benefit of providing cooking fat that's been naturally flavored by the preservation process. This method is particularly effective for pork products, where the rendered fat creates perfect preservation conditions while adding complementary flavors. Chicken, duck, and other poultry also preserve beautifully using this technique, developing rich, complex tastes that make modern preservation methods seem crude by comparison. Storage requirements are minimal. Containers of lard-preserved meat can sit in cool, dark places for months without any deterioration. The fat acts as both preservative and packaging, creating a complete preservation system that requires no external inputs once established. The Amish have perfected underground storage systems that maintain consistent temperatures year-round without consuming any energy. These root cellars create ideal conditions for storing both fresh and preserved foods, extending storage life dramatically while maintaining optimal quality. Construction of proper root cellars requires understanding soil conditions, drainage patterns, and ventilation requirements. The Amish dig these chambers to specific depths, where earth temperatures remain constant, typically 50–55 degrees Celsius throughout the year. This natural temperature control creates perfect conditions for long-term food storage. Ventilation systems in root cellars are carefully designed to provide necessary air circulation without compromising temperature stability. The Amish use natural convection principles to create airflow that prevents moisture buildup while maintaining optimal humidity levels for different types of stored foods. Different areas within root cellars are designated for specific food types, with varying humidity and temperature zones created through strategic design. Root vegetables prefer higher humidity, while preserved meats need drier conditions. The Amish create these microclimates within single structures through clever engineering and natural materials. Modern applications of root cellar principles can dramatically improve home food storage capabilities. Even simple underground storage areas or modified basements can provide significant benefits for food preservation when designed using traditional Amish principles. Water removal is fundamental to food preservation, and the Amish have perfected dehydration techniques that create shelf-stable foods with concentrated flavors and extended storage life. Their methods work with natural processes to remove moisture while preserving nutritional content and developing enhanced tastes. Air drying is the simplest and most widely used Amish dehydration method, requiring only proper air circulation and controlled conditions. Meat is cut into strips and hung in well-ventilated areas, where natural airflow slowly removes moisture while preventing spoilage. The result is jerky that puts commercial products to shame. Vegetable dehydration follows similar principles but requires different techniques for optimal results. The Amish slice vegetables to specific thicknesses that allow proper moisture removal while maintaining structural integrity. Timing is crucial. Too little drying leaves moisture that can cause spoilage, while over-drying creates tough, unpalatable products. Fruit dehydration creates natural candy that's both nutritious and delicious. The Amish often combine different fruits during drying to create unique flavor combinations while maximizing use of seasonal abundance. Properly dried fruits can last for years while maintaining most of their nutritional value. Solar drying techniques harness sun energy to accelerate dehydration while maintaining food quality. The Amish construct simple solar dryers using basic materials that concentrate heat and airflow to create optimal drying conditions. These systems work effectively even in moderate climates with proper design and operation. Fermentation represents one of the most sophisticated preservation techniques, using beneficial bacteria to create environments hostile to harmful microorganisms while developing complex flavors and enhanced nutritional profiles. The Amish have mastered fermentation processes that create food superior to fresh alternatives. Sauerkraut. Production demonstrates fermentation principles perfectly. Fresh cabbage is shredded and salted, then packed into containers where natural bacteria begin fermentation processes. The resulting environment becomes increasingly acidic, preventing harmful bacteria while developing tangy, complex flavors that improve with age. Fermented vegetables extend far beyond sauerkraut, with the Amish fermenting everything from green beans to carrots to create preserved foods that are both nutritious and delicious. Each vegetable requires specific techniques and timing to achieve optimal results, knowledge that's been refined through generations of practice. Dairy fermentation creates products like cultured butter and cheese that have extended storage life while offering superior flavors to commercial alternatives. The Amish use natural bacterial cultures that create complex flavor profiles impossible to achieve through industrial processes. Fermentation also applies to beverages, with the Amish creating naturally fermented drinks that provide probiotics and extended storage life. These beverages often serve medicinal purposes while being enjoyable alternatives to commercial soft drinks. While maintaining traditional methods, the Amish have also adopted pressure canning as a safe, effective preservation technique that combines modern safety standards with traditional food preparation wisdom. This method allows preservation of low-acid foods that cannot be safely preserved through other traditional methods. Pressure canning works by heating foods to temperatures that destroy all harmful bacteria, including those that cause botulism. The high-pressure environment allows temperatures above boiling point, ensuring complete sterilization while sealing foods in containers that maintain sterility indefinitely. The Amish approach to pressure canning emphasizes quality ingredients and proper techniques over convenience. They select only the finest meats and vegetables, preparing them with care and attention that results in canned goods superior to commercial products. The process becomes a community activity where families work together to preserve large quantities efficiently. Meat canning is particularly valuable, creating ready-to-eat protein that requires no refrigeration while maintaining excellent quality. Properly canned meat can last 3 to 5 years while providing convenient meal components that save time and effort during busy periods. Soup and stew canning creates complete meals in jars, providing convenient options that are both nutritious and satisfying. The Amish often prepare large batches of favorite recipes, canning them for later use when time or ingredients might be limited. The genius of Amish food preservation lies not in any single technique, but in how all these methods work together to create complete food security. Every preservation method serves specific purposes while supporting the overall goal of food independence and security. Their seasonal approach maximizes each preservation method's effectiveness while taking advantage of natural abundance cycles. Spring brings fresh eggs for lime water preservation. Summer provides vegetables for fermentation and drying. Fall offers meat for smoking and salt curing. And winter allows focus on consuming and maintaining preserved foods. The community aspect of food preservation creates efficiency and knowledge sharing that benefits everyone. Large preservation projects become social events where multiple families work together, sharing labor, knowledge, and resources while creating stronger community bonds. Modern adaptation of these techniques doesn't require abandoning contemporary conveniences entirely. Selective application of traditional methods can dramatically improve food security while reducing costs and improving quality. Even small-scale implementation can provide significant benefits during emergencies or supply disruptions. The key insight from Amish preservation wisdom is that food security comes from understanding natural processes and working with them rather than depending on complex systems that can fail. Their methods prove that the most sophisticated preservation techniques are often the simplest ones, refined through generations of practical experience into systems that simply work year after year without fail. In a world of increasing food costs and supply chain vulnerabilities, the Amish approach offers something precious: the confidence that comes from knowing your family will always have access to nutritious, delicious food regardless of what happens with grocery stores, supply chains, or economic conditions. Their methods don't just preserve food. They create abundance from seasonal surpluses while building resilience that no amount of modern technology can match. What makes Amish food preservation truly revolutionary isn't just the techniques themselves. It's the underlying philosophy that treats food as a precious resource deserving careful stewardship rather than a commodity to be consumed carelessly. This mindset shift transforms everything about how food gets valued, prepared, and stored. Their waste-nothing approach ensures every bit of seasonal abundance gets captured and preserved for later use. When apple trees produce bumper crops, every apple finds purpose. Some eaten fresh, others dried for winter snacks, still others fermented into vinegar or preserved in honey. Nothing goes to waste because everything has potential value when handled correctly. The focus on quality over convenience creates preserved foods that are often superior to fresh alternatives. Salt-cured hams develop flavors that improve over months of aging. Fermented vegetables become more nutritious than their fresh counterparts while developing complex tastes impossible to achieve through other methods. Properly preserved foods don't just last longer, they get better with time. Working with natural cycles rather than fighting them reduces effort while improving results. Understanding how different foods behave throughout the year allows families to time preservation activities for maximum effectiveness. Spring egg preservation takes advantage of peak laying seasons, while fall meat preservation coincides with traditional butchering times when animals are at their prime condition. The long-term perspective treats food preservation as an investment that pays dividends for years rather than a chore that must be repeated constantly. Building proper storage facilities, mastering preservation techniques, and creating food security systems produces infrastructure that becomes more valuable over time while reducing dependence on outside food sources. The beauty of Amish preservation methods lies in their scalability and adaptability. You don't need to live on a farm or abandon modern conveniences to benefit from centuries of preservation wisdom. Small changes and strategic applications can dramatically improve food security while reducing costs and improving quality. Starting with simple techniques like egg preservation in lime water or oil coating provides immediate benefits while building confidence and experience. These methods require minimal equipment and space while producing remarkable results that demonstrate the effectiveness of traditional approaches. Expanding into salt curing and smoking opens up possibilities for creating gourmet preserved meats that cost a fraction of commercial alternatives while providing superior quality and longer storage life. Even apartment dwellers can adapt these techniques using small-scale equipment and creative approaches. Fermentation projects like sauerkraut and pickled vegetables provide probiotics and extended storage life while being enjoyable family activities that connect people with traditional food preparation methods. These projects often become gateway experiences that lead to broader interest in food preservation and self-sufficiency. Building proper storage facilities, even simple root cellars or modified basement areas, creates infrastructure that supports all preservation activities while providing emergency food security. These investments pay dividends for decades while requiring minimal ongoing maintenance. Modern food science has validated many traditional preservation methods, confirming that Amish techniques often achieve results superior to industrial processes. Understanding the scientific principles behind these methods helps explain why they work so effectively while building confidence in their safety and reliability. The pH levels created by fermentation and vinegar preservation create environments where harmful bacteria cannot survive while beneficial microorganisms thrive. These natural preservation systems are often more effective than chemical preservatives while providing additional health benefits through probiotic activity. Salt concentration in curing processes creates osmotic pressure that draws moisture from harmful bacteria while preserving food tissues. The precise ratios used by experienced Amish preservers achieve optimal preservation while maintaining palatability and nutritional value. Temperature control in smoking and drying processes eliminates pathogens while developing flavors through controlled chemical reactions. The Amish understanding of these processes, developed through generations of practice, often exceeds what can be achieved through industrial methods focused on speed and efficiency rather than quality. Water activity levels in properly preserved foods fall below thresholds where harmful bacteria can multiply, creating shelf-stable products that maintain safety without refrigeration. This scientific principle underlies all successful preservation methods, whether traditional or modern. Recent supply chain disruptions and natural disasters have highlighted the vulnerability of modern food systems, making traditional preservation knowledge more relevant than ever. Families with well-stocked pantries of preserved foods weathered these challenges with minimal disruption while others struggled with empty shelves and inflated prices. The psychological benefits of food security cannot be overstated. Knowing your family could eat well for months without visiting a store provides peace of mind that's impossible to achieve through other means. This security allows families to weather economic uncertainties, natural disasters, or supply disruptions without anxiety about basic needs. Preserved foods often provide better nutrition during emergencies than typical emergency supplies. While commercial emergency foods focus on calories and shelf life, traditional preservation methods maintain nutritional density while providing familiar, comforting flavors that support morale during difficult times. The skills involved in food preservation create valuable knowledge that can be shared with others during emergencies. Families who understand these techniques become community resources, able to help neighbors preserve food or share preserved supplies when needed. The financial advantages of food preservation extend far beyond just saving money on groceries. Families who master these techniques often find they're eating better food while spending significantly less than those dependent on commercial products and restaurant meals. Bulk purchasing during seasonal abundance allows preservation of high-quality foods at fraction of off-season prices. A bushel of apples in fall might cost what a few pounds cost in winter, but preserved properly, those fall apples provide nutrition and enjoyment throughout the year. Reduced food waste through preservation techniques can cut grocery costs by 20–30% while improving meal quality. Instead of watching fresh produce spoil in refrigerators, preserved foods maintain quality for months or years while being ready for immediate use. The equipment costs for food preservation are typically one-time investments that pay for themselves quickly through reduced grocery bills. A pressure canner might cost what a family spends on groceries in a week, but it can preserve thousands of dollars worth of food over its lifetime. Home-preserved foods often taste better than commercial alternatives while costing significantly less. A jar of home-canned soup might cost $2 to make, but provide quality equivalent to $8 restaurant soup while being more nutritious and satisfying. Traditional food preservation activities naturally bring people together, creating opportunities for knowledge sharing, skill development, and community building that strengthens social bonds while improving everyone's food security. Large preservation projects like community canning days or group butchering events allow families to accomplish more while sharing costs and labor. These activities often become annual traditions that people look forward to while building practical skills and social connections. Knowledge sharing between generations ensures traditional skills don't disappear while allowing experienced preservers to pass on refined techniques and family recipes. Young people learn valuable life skills while older community members share knowledge that might otherwise be lost. Surplus sharing creates informal networks where families with abundance can help those with shortages while building relationships that provide security for everyone. These networks often extend beyond food to include other resources and mutual aid during difficult times. The teaching aspect of food preservation creates opportunities for people to develop expertise while helping others learn valuable skills. Master preservers often become community resources, teaching classes or helping neighbors with preservation projects. As concerns about food security, supply chain reliability, and environmental sustainability continue growing, traditional preservation methods offer solutions that address multiple challenges simultaneously. These techniques provide food security while reducing environmental impact and building community resilience. Climate change and extreme weather events make food preservation skills increasingly valuable, as they provide buffers against supply disruptions and seasonal variations. Families with preservation knowledge and stored foods can weather these challenges while maintaining good nutrition and food security. Rising food costs make preservation techniques more economically attractive, as they allow families to take advantage of seasonal abundance and bulk purchasing opportunities while reducing dependence on expensive processed foods. Growing interest in sustainable living and self-sufficiency drives renewed appreciation for traditional skills that reduce dependence on industrial food systems while providing superior quality and nutrition. The integration of traditional methods with modern safety knowledge creates preservation systems that combine the best of both approaches. The effectiveness and flavor development of traditional techniques with the safety assurance of modern food science. The Amish approach to food preservation offers more than just techniques for keeping food fresh. It provides a complete philosophy of food security that creates abundance, builds community, and provides resilience against an uncertain future. Their methods prove that the most sophisticated preservation systems are often the simplest ones, refined through generations of practical experience into approaches that simply work year after year without fail. In a world of increasing complexity and uncertainty, these traditional methods offer something precious: the confidence that comes from knowing your family will always have access to nutritious, delicious food regardless of external circumstances. They don't just preserve food, they preserve independence, security, and the satisfaction that comes from mastering essential life skills. Whether you're interested in emergency preparedness, reducing grocery costs, improving food quality, or simply connecting with traditional skills, Amish preservation methods offer practical solutions that have stood the test of time. They represent not a return to the past, but a bringing forward of the best traditional wisdom into our modern lives, creating resilience that no amount of technology can match. The choice is simple: continue depending on complex systems that can fail, or learn the time-tested methods that have kept families fed and secure for centuries. The Amish way offers a path toward true food security that's both practical and proven, waiting for anyone willing to learn from their centuries of accumulated wisdom.